Okay, let's continue this problem, checkpoint 1. So we're on part E, and the question is, how many respondents listen to classical music but not jazz? Okay, so let's write this down. Whoops, let me get my white here. Okay, so listened to, let's see what it was, classical. So listen to classical but not jazz. Okay, well, let's look at our Venn diagram. How many people listen to, or respondents listen to classical? Okay, well, there is my classical right there, right? These, right? 55 plus 20, which we found in part A, right? That was our 75. But they don't listen to jazz. So they like classical, but not jazz. So here's classical. So if we have to remove jazz, think of just cutting the jazz circle out. Okay, so we would just be left with, let's see, maybe let's make it in green. So that moon area, that's what listen to classical but not jazz represents, right? Because we don't want, you listen to classical but not jazz, so you have to remove if you don't like jazz, because this 20 people includes people who listen to classical and jazz, and we don't want that jazz. So hopefully that makes sense. So then our number is just simply, it's just 55. So you can write 55. Okay, let's try F. And F asks, how many respondents listen to jazz but not classical music? Okay, so listened to jazz, right? If you want to write J, but not classical music. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and, oh, it's not letting me erase this part. Okay. So listen to jazz. So listened to jazz, but not classical music. Okay. Well, listen to jazz. Well, if you listen to jazz, you're definitely right here. Okay. But you don't listen to classical music. So we have this, but we're going to take away the classical music circle. Okay. So we're going to cut this circle out. And so our respondents who listen to jazz but not classical is the purple region. And so that's just simply 70 people. And again, hopefully it's not too bad. I hope it's not. It's really just, again, learning how to read these Venn diagrams. And again, you're more than welcome to, well, again, this is part of showing your work. You can draw the two circles and you can say, okay, that's classical and that's jazz. And okay, they listen to jazz, so that's here, but not classical. So, I would cut this out and, write cut just so you won't think that's the answer. And then, of course, whatever's left over. However, I've seen students do that, which usually get the right answer most of the time, instead of just kind of staring at the picture. Okay, so almost done. So G, E, F, G. How many respondents listen to neither? Okay, so they listen to neither classical nor jazz. Okay, so not everybody listens to classical or jazz. So how many people listen to neither? Well, that's where the universal set comes in, right? The universal set is everybody, uh, I mean, people who listen to all types of music, right? In this specific example, we're just focusing on classical and jazz, right? These number of people. But what about these 30, right? They, might listen to classic rock, Christian rock, hip hop, country. There's these 30 people, have their own musical taste. So neither jazz, classical music, or jazz is everybody outside of, let's see, let me maybe choose Oh, let's see. I don't want to do blue because that's going to look too much. Let's do, okay, pink, right? Right, so 30 people are in pink. So if you don't, for example, if you don't like listening to classical or jazz, you're in the pink zone. So that's just 30 people. And last one, let me just get my white marker here. H is how many people were surveyed? That's a great question. And that is basically is representing the universal set. How many people were surveyed? So I'm going to actually write that down. How many people were surveyed? And this is a great question because this is really asking for the universal set. And Brittany Jones in class yesterday, we had a conversation about, she was asking, what's the difference between the union of two sets and the universal set, which was a great question. That's what I want you to ask. And I mean, the answer is a universal set is everybody who's surveyed. So, I mean, how many people were surveyed? Well, all you have to do is just count the number of people. So that's right, 55 plus 20 plus 70 plus 30. And A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, I already wrote my H. So that's 55 plus 20 plus 70 plus 30, right? And just add those up. And we get 100, 170, 175. So that is your universal set. 175 people were surveyed on musical tastes. So hopefully, again, this example makes sense. If it doesn't, please let me know, and I'm more than happy to do another one to help you practice. Okay, that's it for checkpoint 1.